Literacy. So my name's Jennifer Mutch. I am a science coordinator at Santa Clara County Office of Education. And it's been really awesome doing this work with our county office folks and other partners that we have here today. So like I said, if you could please just make sure you're on mute for this first portion of the webinar. And we would like for you to please share in the chat box and where you're from, introduce yourself, your role, your location, and also think about the native land in which you either live or work on. And if you're not sure, the link to look that up is going to be added to the chat. You will be getting lots of links in the chat for just some resources that we're going to be sharing. And we do have a resource page that we'll also be sharing with you. So we want to acknowledge that this virtual meeting is taking place throughout the unceded territory of California, which is home to nearly 200 tribal nations. And we acknowledge and honor the original inhabitants of our various regions. I am currently speaking to you from San Jose, California, which is the unceded territory of the Muwekma tribe of the Ohlone Nation. And we acknowledge that, and working with the Santa Clara County Office of Education, we do have a land acknowledgement, which we acknowledge that our schools occupy the unceded territory of the Muwekma Ohlone Nation, and which is the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn. The Muwekma Ohlone people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learning that comes from and responds to the needs of the land and people who share it. May our daily lives and work, research, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Muwekma Ohlone for their community and these lands. So we also encourage you, when you are thinking about a land acknowledgement, that you're really thinking about deeper ways that you're currently partnering or could partner with Indigenous leaders and communities wherever you are. And again, making sure that you're using the link that we sent to you to share what land you are on. And we appreciate that you're participating in this acknowledgement. And we believe, again, that it's an important step towards reconciliation, inviting and honoring the truth, and showing respect toward correcting the stories and practices that erase Indigenous people's history and culture. And it's an important part of what we are doing with Cali as well. We also know, we want to share with you that this environmental literacy initiative is a public-private partnership. And you can see it out here on the slide. And it's we're trying to increase relevant and impactful environment-based learning for all of California's K-12 students. And you see the county offices that are involved in this work. So we also want to make sure that you know what the objectives are for today. So we want to make sure that you see that what we're doing today is that we're recognizing that environmental literacy is a core competency for all of California students. We want you to understand the different aspects of community-based partnerships and businesses and their roles in environmental literacy. That's our focus for today. We want to help you develop a vision of what's possible through connecting different agencies and networks to fill in the gaps and provide equitable access for students to environmental education and outdoor learning. We want you to also try to learn about some examples. We are going to learn some examples of successful environmental literacy partnerships and how they've thrived. And we want you to also consider what your next steps can be with identifying and developing these partnerships. So from the beginning, our California Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond, has been very supportive of all this work. So his quote is about environmental literacy is a key component in our children's education. By meeting our school communities where they're at, environmental literacy integrates the diversity of California's people and places with engaging, impactful learning that begins early and continues throughout a student's life. Interacting with their local environments, students experience learning across core subjects in a way that supports academic achievement, equity of access, and cultural relevance in the health of our students and communities. So I'd like to actually introduce Lori Kieser, who's going to introduce our special guest today. So go ahead.
Hi, welcome everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Holly Steele. Holly currently serves as the administrator for STEM, environmental literacy, expanded learning, and esports, also known as all things STEM, at the Orange County Department of Education. There, she works to build an inclusive STEM community in Orange County that empowers students to better their world. In that work, she's a passionate advocate for helping all learners develop a strong connection with the natural world. Outside the office, she's an avid hockey player and fan and lives with her husband, her 4 sassy chickens, who I love, and a mostly living garden. I'll turn it over to Holly now.
Thank you, Lori, for the kind introduction. And I would like to thank the entire Cali team for planning and organizing this webinar today, focused on community-based and business partnerships in service to environmental learning. It's a privilege to share some thoughts with the group to get started today. I started my career in education as a middle school science educator, and in that work, I was exposed early on to the concept of the STEM learning ecosystem. As a trained biologist with a passion for the outdoors, this was certainly something that piqued my interest. In that work, we were challenged to think about all of the different types of educators in a child's life, the places where children learn, and how those people and places can work together to produce a stronger, more cohesive outcome for youth. In a learning ecosystem, that meant developing relationships with educators of all walks, early childhood, parents, after school and non-formal, and in all spaces, school, home, community centers, etc. No matter where I've worked, be it a school site, district office, or county office, or in what capacity, this concept of a learning ecosystem and the interdependence it promotes has stuck with me. It has become central to our driving and our collective purpose within our Inside the Outdoors organization. That is, developing a system that ensures that all students have the access and opportunity to not only develop a solid foundation in environmental literacy, but also to develop the agency needed to make informed decisions about their world. And this has become increasingly critical as we seek to find ways to safely and creatively connect learners of all ages to each other, their communities, and to the natural world in the middle of a global pandemic. And wow, what a challenge that is that we are all facing right now. The challenge can often feel overwhelming, and it's important to remember to lean into those relationships that exist within your ecosystem. No matter where you are calling in from today, there are likely local agencies, public utilities, city governments, private companies, or community-based organizations who are just as passionate about supporting environmental literacy as you are. And oftentimes these partners are especially invested in supporting our most vulnerable students, which empowers us to tackle head-on the equity challenges we face in this space. We see that in our local community, for example, with the support that Disney and Anaheim Public Utilities provides for each and every student in the city of Anaheim. And it's truly humbling to witness the power of partnerships. The simple truth is that we cannot do this critical work of developing environmental literacy without our so-called ecosystem of support. And today, I'm thankful that your ecosystem now also includes everyone on this call. You'll have the chance to hear from several leaders about how they have created their own ecosystems in the context of their work. Amity will launch the conversation with an exploration of the local networks, and you'll have the chance to connect with others in your region. Lori and Yuri will follow up with a bit of a case study of the partnerships that support students in 2 local districts here in Orange County. And finally, Shannon and the CREEK coordinators will hold space for you to engage regionally in discussion around what partnerships you're interested in exploring. I hope that you find these conversations valuable in moving forward in service to our children. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for doing the work that you do.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you for those introductory remarks. Next slide. I will just briefly, Holly touched on the agenda, but we'll just briefly talk through. The first thing that you're going to hear about is the types of community-based partners and networks. The second thing, the second person you'll hear from is Yuri. He will go over the case study examples. And then we'll get a chance to hear from Shannon Gordon, and she'll talk about the Creek region. And she and Amity will have a little bit more discussion, and then we'll go into region breakout rooms and next steps. Next slide. So just before we start, what I'd like to do is just briefly go over What is environmental literacy? This is from the California's Blueprint for Environmental Literacy. An environmentally literate person has the capacity to act individually and with others to support ecologically sound, economically prosperous, and equitable communities for present and future generations through lived experiences and education programs that include classroom-based lessons, experiential education, and outdoor learning. Students will become environmentally literate, developing the knowledge, skills, and understanding of environmental principles to analyze environmental issues and make informed decisions. Again, that's from the California Blueprint for Environmental Literacy. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Amity, who will share with you more about the types of partnerships.
Thank you, Lori. Next slide, there we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Amity Sandage, Environmental Literacy Coordinator at Santa Cruz County Office of Education. And I'll give an overview of community-based partner networks before we dive into the case studies and breakout groups. Next slide. But before we get into that, I just have to do a tiny moment here to ask you to rename yourselves. So we have a map here that divides the state into the 11 regions that are part of the system of support for California schools. And for the breakout groups later, we want to put you into groups by region so that you can meet potential collaborators. And for that, we need you all to rename yourselves in Zoom and add the number of your region right before your name. And you can see that shown in the bold example in the middle of the slide. So to do this, find your region on the map, note the number, then go to your Zoom toolbar and click on participants. Find your name in the participants list, and there's 3 dots next to your name. And if you click on the 3 dots, you'll have the option to rename yourself. And you rename yourself with your region number first, then your name and organization. All right, so while people are doing that, I'll continue on with thinking about our community-based partners. Next slide. So why partnerships? Here in our own guiding documents is some clear support for this approach. These are quotes from our California Science Framework, and you can see they point out that partners, quote, play an important role in the implementation of NGSS by providing resources, feedback, and support to schools, and that outdoor and environmental learning experiences in particular are powerful tools for making instructional shifts required in NGSS and the California Environmental Principles and Concepts. So this is inside our guiding documents. Next slide. So that all sounds lofty and admirable in the guiding documents, but what does it actually look like at the local level? This is actually a picture of what it can look like. These are many members of the local network in my region standing inside a whale skeleton. I'm sure there's some symbolism to this, them putting the meat on the bones of the work or being at the heart of the whale. But I put this here because the truth is that the support for environmental literacy that my County Office of Education provides to districts would not be possible at all without these partners. And I think, I hope they feel the same, that in their partnership with the county office and with districts, they're benefiting in multiple ways. And our Cali County Office of Ed working group that is created this call to action document in this webinar series, we've been surveying effective regional networks to better understand the benefits of community-based partner networks. There are so many. So next slide, just to talk a little bit about the benefits. This is the most important way that we all benefit. We have a common vision of creating a more equitable education system with environmental literacy for all students. And our local partners can help us advance this vision because they often bring existing relationships and trust with specific communities that they work with. And by working together, we can target their services to increase access to outdoor learning, to provide environmental programs to students, and to make sure that they're reaching our most disadvantaged communities. Partners also are able to provide assistance to school districts that need it for greening their school sites and greening their curriculum. And these partners often also have real world opportunities for students to connect with green career paths. And next slide, please. So those real world experiences, they really do keep it real, the environmental ed partners. And that's one of their greatest benefits. They are involved often in environmental monitoring, data collection, research, restoration projects. So they can not only provide professional expertise in these areas that teachers don't necessarily have, but they can potentially engage students in those projects and have students working as part of the solutions to the environmental problems that are in their own communities. And that is what makes education relevant to every student. And that's how we can reach students who are not engaging in science and who are feeling disengaged from their schools. Next slide, please. So there's so many more benefits we could talk about, but there's only an hour for this webinar. So what do community-based partner networks look like? That they vary. Next slide. So I'm going to show you a few ways you can think about them. So this is a sampling looking at just a few, there's many more than these, but these are a few established networks categorized by the different scales at which they operate. The larger national and state networks are wonderful resources for you, wonderful places to look for professional expertise. They have the capacity, being larger, to develop toolkits, to conduct research into best practices that they can share out into the field. But in general, they are not the ones who are going to be helping you at your school site or in your district. To support actionable environmental literacy in school district, nothing beats a local level network for real support and programming. And so in our survey, we have found really fruitful partnership work happening at the county level, or even smaller if you're in a geographically large county or in a highly populous county, then your network might even be smaller than the county level. Next slide, please. Another way you'll see your partner organizations falling into groups is by type. And this also varies a lot by region. For example, in Santa Cruz County, we have an incredibly high number of environmental education nonprofits offering education programming. But in one of our close neighboring counties, San Benito, there are very few environmental education nonprofits. So their community-based partner network would look very, very different from Santa Cruz's. Their potential partners might include government programs, like I know they've worked with the Bureau of Land Management. There's a national park there. So a government-run program that has concerns about the environment. And then they may reach out to energy or water departments at municipalities that have community outreach goals that intersect with environmental literacy. Or they might be looking at potential partners in agriculture, exploring sustainable practices. So the key is to identify the potential partners in your region that have common goals that intersect around sustainability, environmental, and community health. Next slide, please. You'll also find that partners bring different expertise and resources to the table. Some offer education programs, some offer curriculum, some offer both, and some might come with their own funding to provide programs for transportation or access to programming that's providing access to public lands or parks for communities that lack access. So looking at your potential partners and thinking about how a network can be greater than the sum of its parts is a great way to start. Next slide. And if you don't see a potential network out there at the start, don't despair. Start small, look for your like-minded folks in your region and invite them to build a vision along with you, and identify some small steps that you can take that will have an impact on the students most in need, and that will set you on the right path. And with that, I will hand this back to Lori to introduce Yarib and the case studies. I'm excited to hear about these. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yarib will do a much better job of introducing himself, so I will let him take it from here.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with everyone here today. My name is Yarib Deming. I work with the Orange County Department of Education, specifically with the Inside the Outdoors Environmental Education Program. And to give you a little background about myself and how I got involved with this work, I really like to tell people that I am a product of environmental literacy. As an English learner myself, immigrated to this country at 6 years old, I grew up in Northern California, and I always like to give a shout out to Santa Clara County Office of Education because it starts with a spark. And my spark was outdoor science school at Walden West. And from there, my passion in outdoor education has continued through my schooling, and I continue to do the work today, and which is what drives my passion and how I make these connections with our local partners. So I will talk about some of the partnerships that we have in Orange County. I will discuss some of the successes and our recipe at Inside the Outdoors and how we make this work happen. So to give you a little background about organization, if I could have this next slide, please. So Inside the Outdoors, again, we are the environmental education program that administered by the Orange County Department of Education. Developed in 1974, it started with outdoor science school in the San Bernardino Mountains. In the mid 80s, it expanded to day-long field trips throughout Orange County, expanding the reach to support the students and provide the environmental literacy available still to this day. In the late 80s, we expanded further by developing traveling scientist programs where we can go into the classroom with science lessons and have the hands-on component. So as you can see from the pictures here, on the left is our headquarters at the foothills of the Santa Ana Mountains, also my backdrop as well, so Santiago Canyon. In the middle, you have students out at a field trip at Upper Newport Bay. And on the right, we have an example of our traveling scientist programs. So that is one of our staff members out at a school site, engaged with students with hands-on activities, all working to develop environmental literacy. In this specific instance, it is with geology. So currently we are offering programs at 15 locations throughout Orange County for field trips. We also have one site in LA County. We have 21 traveling scientist programs we offer for K through 12 students, and we serve over 120,000 students yearly with both programs, field trips, and also traveling scientist programs. Now, this is all pre-pandemic. And as Holly mentioned earlier, things have definitely shifted. And I know there's a lot of folks here that are on the same page where you had to do a complete 180 in how you offer services. And this is what we've done with our programming. So next slide, please. We are currently offering virtual programs to all the schools that we support. And as you can see on the pictures on this slide, on the left, we have our staff members out on a field trip location with a Native American program with a classroom. And you can see that she's showing a sycamore leaf, discussing how that is used with Native American cultures in Southern California, local to Orange County. On the right is a lesson on geology with second grade students from a local district in Orange County as well, keeping it engaging with multiple staff members involved in that lesson to manage the chat, to engage on video, to provide those resources to the students that are involved in our programs. Every live stream program presentation is grade level specific, supports California content standards, and we try our best to keep the look and feel of a traditional Inside the Outdoors program. Next slide, please. With each program, we want to make sure that we are extending each lesson more than just the virtual. So we have created pre and post activities with each lesson. Again, each lesson supporting standards, having synchronous components and also asynchronous pre and post activities, supporting social emotional learning, and again, providing activities and programs for K through 12 students throughout Orange County. Next slide, please. A big part of what we do cannot be done with the families and communities that we work with. Family engagement is key to creating those partnerships. So in this slide, you can see there is a student from a Title I school engaged in his own backyard. And the reason he's engaged, we developed an activity called Nature Scene Investigators in collaboration with a local high school in Orange County, which the goal being, how do we encourage more families to get outdoors locally? And we have missions at local nature centers, county parks, state parks in Orange County to get families outdoors, to get them to make those observations. Now, we've only increased these opportunities by developing what we call backyard missions. And these backyard missions could be done anywhere, whether it's insects, whether it's birding activities, looking up at the clouds. These are all activities to include as many folks as we can. At our county office with our program, diversity, equity, and inclusion is key at everything that we develop with our programs. So multiple languages are offered with these activities to make sure that they align with the people and the communities that we work with in diverse Orange County. Next slide, please. Now, I will discuss some partnerships that we have at a district level and also at a school level. And two partners that we want to focus on are Anaheim Elementary School District and Golden View Elementary, part of the Ocean View School District in Huntington Beach. Anaheim Elementary School District serves approximately 17,000 students with 23 different school sites, now adding a virtual academy to their list. And Golden View is one of the 16 schools in Ocean View School District in the city of Huntington Beach, also adding a virtual academy because of the current times. Next slide, please. And what you see here is what we like to call the recipe of our development of partnerships, the anatomy of a partnership. The three keys that we feel strengthens these relationships are internal champions and culture, community-based organizations, and also the funders. Now, internal champions and culture, that could be classroom teachers that are really all about environmental literacy for their students. In this picture, you see two teachers from Anaheim Elementary School District at a teacher training that we provided over the winter break. So they took the time to make sure and dedicate this training for their students. So we know that they are the champions in this district. Now that could also be parents, that could be PTA groups, that could be different community members that want to support local schools and local districts. Community-based organizations, in this case, it's inside the outdoors, but also there could be a lot of collaboration with other local partners, whether it's nature centers, different programs, all with the same goal of supporting the students in our local areas and local cities. And of course, the funders that we reach out to and align our goals to support our local community. And again, I can't stress enough with local priorities of these partners are key to creating these relationships. Next slide, please. Now, specifically when talking about Anaheim Elementary School District, a couple of pieces fell into place to develop this partnership over years. They originally were involved with our program going back almost the entire duration of our existence. Having students involved with our outdoor science school program in the San Bernardino Mountains really is what instilled that culture in the district of providing outdoor education for their students from the get-go. So culture is really key in building those strong relationships. The teachers are also key, like I mentioned in the recipe, the anatomy of a partnership. Without them providing the curriculum, the pre and post activities, extending the lessons, bringing it back into the classroom, not having just that one-off experience of a field trip, it is important for those teachers to also be on board. with the goals in mind. Now, thinking about Anaheim, thinking about aligned goals, when we come to the table with district leadership, I'd like to read here a district goal from Anaheim. Anaheim Elementary School District is committed to working with our stakeholders, students, parents, educators, community members, and the Board of Education to create learning environments that optimize the personal growth of each child and enable students to live productively in a changing society. So for us, community members is key. Involving outside organizations in the work that they're doing is vital to providing environmental literacy for their students. So already them coming to the table with the commitment to provide that interaction with outdoor education is what has helped our relationship over the years. And the institutional culture has been there for years and has only grown over time. A quote from the Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Mary Grace: "Environmental literacy is perfectly aligned to our vision that all students will receive a STEAM education. We're really focused in on making sure that the education is engaging, hands-on, relevant, problem-based learning, as well as equitable, that all kids, no matter where they're starting from, have these experiences." So having executive leadership at the district on board with environmental literacy and equity and access for all of their students has been key in providing programs to all 17,000 students. Every grade level at this district attends one of our field trips. And even with the pandemic currently in place, we are doing virtual programs with each grade level and also supporting them with a virtual outdoor science school experience. And that is because of the commitment from the top executive leadership to teachers, administrators, without principals, assistant principals, to support and scheduling programs and making sure the teachers are ready for the experiences. It's vital to include site leaders as well. Again, it is 23 sites that we're coordinating for this partnership. So the principals and assistant principals are definitely key with Anaheim. The parents, one of my favorite groups to work with. Now, in this picture here, we have members of the Parent Leadership Council. And it has been my pleasure to grow this relationship. And as parents that attend field trips, a lot of times they come as chaperones and they get a great experience, but we wanted to extend that opportunity. So we've developed parent-only field trips so they can experience the outdoors on their own. They can take back these experiences and share with the rest of the parent leaders at their school site. So here we have a group from Ponderosa Elementary attending one of our parent field trips at Irvine Regional Park in the city of Orange. And we've continued to do this year after year and rotate through all our field trip locations. So they understand year after year when they see Inside the Outdoors field trips coming their way, they understand why it's so important to provide that environmental literacy for their students. And of course, none of this can happen without the commitment of funds. Funding is important to make this happen for 17,000 students in equity and access for all. So having the district include Inside the Outdoors in the Local Control and Accountability Plan, or LCAP, is vital. Knowing that they're coming to the table with their own resources to make this happen for their students is something that has only grown the relationship. Next slide, please. When we talk about partnerships, we have two different types of partners that we're working with. There's educational partnerships where they can provide educational content, environmental content that is relevant to the local schools they're working with. So 3 examples here: Orange County Waste to Recycling, Anaheim Public Utilities, and Oak Canyon Nature Center, all supporting Anaheim communities. And as you can see with the picture, the anatomy of a landfill, one of the priorities for Orange County Waste Recycling is waste diversion in the county, specifically organic waste diversion. And us reaching out to an organization, also waste haulers in different cities, but specifically to Anaheim, they've been able to provide support and resources that we're able to use for the programs that we teach, whether it's in the classroom or out on the field trip. Again, all taking a look at all the resources that are available and making sure that they're supporting each grade level with the standards that they need. Anaheim Public Utilities, they are focused on energy conservation in their local city. And what they've done is given us resources that we could also use in our programs. And in turn, we can support them by providing surveys to the families that we work with in this district. And they can take that data and see the energy conservation that's happening in homes in Anaheim. So it's a great relationship with students in Anaheim. And Oak Canyon Nature Center, that is a great local nature center for families to get outdoors, do some birding, identify native plants in their area. So also providing resources that are relevant, environmental resources that are relevant, is key to bring in all these partners together and all these resources. Next slide, please. Now we talk about educational partnerships. There's also the funding side, and some of them can actually go back. They can fit in both categories. So Orange County Waste Recycling not only offers us resources for our educational programs, they also offer funding for multiple grade levels with our waste diversion programs. 10 Strands, so shout out to 10 Strand folks on the call here. They provided funding opportunities for teacher trainings, environmental literacy teacher trainings for teachers in Anaheim Elementary School District. And it's key to bring in all these partners to provide the funding for a big partnership for 17,000 students. And you have private foundations like Anaheim Community Foundation, as well supporting local students, grade levels in the city of Anaheim, and again, Anaheim Public Utilities. Now, the reason why it's important to have all these partners in place, think of it as a puzzle. If you really want to be able to provide programs and access to every student in a district the size of Anaheim Elementary School District, this is where the gaps can be filled. Some funders can fund programs, maybe 5th grade, 6th grade. Others can fund programs that are 1st grade, depending on what the standards might be. But again, it's putting all of these pieces together to make sure that they all align with the same goal of supporting the students in this district and providing environmental literacy for all. Next slide, please. Now you might be thinking to yourself, as a smaller organization, we can't support a district the size of 17,000 students. So what can we do on a smaller scale? And that's perfectly okay. Here's an example of a partnership we have with Golden View Elementary in Huntington Beach. Again, looking at those 3 pieces that make these partnerships happen. Internal champions and culture. The internal champions and culture for this partnership definitely have been the teachers and staff we work with, and also the principal, the site principal. We know that they are dedicated in implementing the environmental principles and concept in all of the work that they're doing currently at this school. In 2018, they have focused and renamed themselves as an environmental science focused school, which is fantastic. Again, aligning goals. The picture on the left is a 1st grade teacher, Ms. Dowd, presenting some of the waste diversion project-based programs that we have worked with at this school site. Composting, organic waste diversion being something that they're dedicated to making sure their students are learning what's happening locally. So again, having teachers, the internal champions, is key. The community-based organization, that's where we come into play. And because we teach at multiple sites throughout the county, local. So the picture is of a field trip from students at a nature center in Huntington Beach, Shipley Nature Center. Local to the community for Golden View. Places that families in this school actually visit on their own. It's key to keep everything local to make these partnerships happen. And of course, the funders that we work with, Boeing. So we were lucky enough to partner with Boeing, understanding that they want to focus on local partnerships, and they also want to support their local community. They're based out of Huntington Beach. So they wanted to support school gardens and environmental literacy, environmental education. So making those connections, connecting the dots, we were able to support the school gardens at Golden View and bring everybody together for garden builds where you had the community, the family, the educators, and the funders all in one location to see what can happen with a partnership like we have built here. So Boeing has been a fantastic partner when it comes to this partnership in Huntington Beach. Next slide, please. As you can see, the education partnerships we have, again, bringing back Orange County Waste and Recycling, the focus on waste diversion, students weighing the organic trash that they're diverting from the landfill, using the resources that are provided from a partner like Orange County Waste and Recycling to support the work that they're doing and also support the programs that we provide for their students is key in this partnership. And this is an Instagram post. So making sure to highlight what's going on, shine the light on those partnerships, tag the partners, make sure that everyone's aware what's going on locally and how these partnerships are happening is something that has been successful for our program. That data that's being collected is also important for the partners when we're working with them. Next slide, please. And bringing the funding side, again, 10 strands, providing that support with teacher trainings on environmental literacy. Orange County Waste Recycling, funding for environmental education programs, waste diversion programs, and also Boeing, funding for revitalizing gardens at school sites and also virtual programs currently happening at this school site. Now, some of the strategies continuing to happen with building these relationships. Now, me as the outreach manager for Inside the Outdoors, making sure that you're making these connections with the partners, offering volunteer opportunities. We provide beach cleanups where we bring volunteers from the funding partners we work with. Also, if they cannot come out to a beach cleanup, we provide volunteer opportunities where we go to them. It might be garden kits that they're putting together. So bring in their own employees in that shared goal of environmental literacy. And the next slide is a testimonial from Lori Florgan, the principal at Golden View.
I'm Lori Florgan, the site principal for Golden View Elementary School. I saw the potential that our environmental science program had and was excited to work with my staff to create a vision that could have long-term effects within our community and our world. Working with Inside the Outdoors and our team of teachers, we came together to develop and plan what would be the foundation of our program. Partnering with Inside the Outdoors has given the Golden View students and staff the opportunity to broaden their expertise and involvement with environmental science. Inside the Outdoors has provided wonderful professional development opportunities where our teachers have received in-depth training with the environmental principles and concepts and have had the opportunity to develop units of study in the different focus areas. Golden View students have been able to participate in things like Project Zero Waste, where they get to be part of a team that is working towards waste diversion using our recycling and composting programs. The staff at Inside the Outdoors provided guidance and training for the teachers and students, which helped to spread the knowledge across the whole campus. So you ask, how was this all made possible? The Ocean View School District Superintendent and Board of Trustees has been a great support behind our environmental science program at Golden View. They have seen the importance in keeping our environment healthy for the future of our children. Because of this, we have received encouragement and support throughout our journey, and I'm proud to share that through all of our dedication and our work, we have earned the California Green Ribbon Award for our environmental efforts. Working with Inside the Outdoors has really opened the doors to a wealth of knowledge and opportunities for the students and staff at Golden View Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the time to share some of the work that we're doing at the outdoors in Orange County. I'd like to go ahead and turn it back to Amity.
Thank you. That was an amazing presentation, Narib. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. I'm going to just be really brief here. Just connecting back to our call to action document and action steps. We're going to give you a chance to connect in small groups now. But before doing that, I wanted to say again that our Cali working group is putting together a toolkit for creating community-based partner networks. And so you can know that some support for that specific action step is coming in the new year. And I'm going to turn this over to Shannon Gordon, please, to introduce Shannon so she can share a little bit about the Creek Network and then provide instructions for the breakout groups.
Hi, my name is Shannon Gordon. I'm at the California Department of Education. Our Creek Network program was started back in 1996 and has adapted as time has gone on. And we have hopefully a person in the Creek Network in each one of your breakout rooms that we'll be going into. If you haven't put a number with your name, please do that right now for your region. And we will have a video on the slide that I hope you can look at later. It's a great overview of the Creek Network. And there's other videos on the Creek Network website that are very inspiring about the work going on in each region. So our network is organized by region. These regions match up with our education support. When you go into your breakout room, that's exactly what we hope you will find is some support for your education system at the local level and some ideas to inspire you. So we have these directions that you will be seeing in your breakout room to follow if you have time. I will be joining in a breakout room myself,